questions. I'm going to moderate. I have no idea how the meeting's going to go. It's all up to you, to how much you participate. So what we're going to be discussing is the power of the relationship. Once you get that deal and you need to take it through to closing, who are some of the different players that are involved? Well, where's Lacey?
He stepped out for me.
Lacey? One of the first persons that you usually will come in contact with, if you are not that person, is going to be someone like Lacey McCullum, okay?
Oh, right on time.
So, let me actually, I'm going to introduce Lacey first, I'll come back to Fred. I'm going to do them in order of how it would occur. So, Lacey has 15 years of experience, and start correcting me if I'm wrong or if I miss anything. 15 years of experience as a real estate investor. He calls himself, his niche that he has carved out is he's a deal maker. Lacey, what is a deal maker?
Well, in my case, a deal maker is someone who brings parties together to consummate a deal.
Okay.
So it can be anywhere from bringing the investor together with the lender, helping them get pre-qualified, taking that pre-qualification to go and purchase a property. It can be helping them to deal with a hard money lender. I have relationships with hard money lenders. I have relationships with lenders. Here's a lender right here I have a relationship with. I have relationships with lots of different real estate agents who are in different niches and different markets. So,
awesome. And I've heard you say relationships a couple times,
well,
right?
yes, it's about relationships.
It's all about
It's all about
relationships, right?
Right.
So Lacey is one of us, okay? He just happens to be in the front room and he has a tie on tonight. Okay, but he's actually, I brought him in tonight because he's one of us. He's out there, he's the deal maker, okay? And you can be a deal maker too. You don't have to be the one out in the field swinging the hammer, buying the deals, rehabbing the deals. You can be a deal maker where you are a wholesaler. What your strategy is to bring people together, and then, but how do you get paid? How do you build your financial portfolio?
So for me, I started wholesaling before I knew what the term wholesaling was. So I'm a wholesaler, but a wholesaler plus. So I'm in on the front end of the deal, where I get paid a wholesale fee for finding and analyzing the property. And then on some deals, I stay on to the end and I provide project management, because the person who has acquired the property doesn't understand construction and those things. So I work with their contractors to make sure that they're on time, on schedule, on budget, and then we can go and close.
Wow. So this is extremely unique because you are able as an investor to put on different types of hats from beginning to end, but act as the deal maker to make sure if someone needs you from the beginning to the end that they have you.
Right. So
Fantastic.
I do handle.
All right, so we're gonna get into a lot of that. That is absolutely powerful, what it is that you bring to the table. So after someone finds a deal, maybe you wholesale them to the deal, then they say, Lacey, where in the world, now I'm the buyer, now I need to get a loan.
Right.
So Lacey then in turn introduces them to either an investor agent who would, that is maybe working on one side or the other, which could be Sid Hamid, okay, from Next Stage. Or if there is no investor agent involved, then he may introduce them to Fred Wagner III. So Fred Wagner III is a loan officer, and how many years, Fred?
17.
17 years as a loan officer. And what is the name of the company that you work with?
Residential mortgage.
Residential Mortgage. So you want to write that down. I'll make them give out their phone numbers to you here shortly. So you've been with Residential Mortgage for 17 years, and it's a true testament in today's market that you're still standing.
Yeah, but I haven't been with residential 17. I've been in the business 17.
Correct me. I'm sorry.
So I've been in the business 17. I've been with different mortgage companies and banks.
Okay.
So
How long have you been with Residential Mortgage?
About 3 years.
About 3 years. Okay. And for you to still be standing as a loan officer in today's market is a true testament
Yes, it is.
to him as a loan officer and to the integrity and the backing of the mortgage company, okay, or the residential mortgage, because probably, 90% of them have gone down? That number might even be higher. In the meltdown, with all the fraud, with all everything that's been going on, there have been more and more and more loan officers and mortgage companies that went under. So I bring Fred in to share with you this evening, not only because he has the wealth of knowledge, the years of experience, he works with many, many, many different types of loan products. And you need to understand what the loan products are today. You may not use them, but if you have a buyer that comes and is buying your rehab, for example, you need to be able to have a relationship in your back pocket that you can lead that person to help them get financing. Why do you think you would like to be able to help facilitate and be in control of that relationship? Anybody got any idea?
Sell your property.
Huh?
You can sell one of your
So you
own
can sell the
properties.
property. You know how many deals fall apart and they never even get to the place of where the loan gets done? For one reason or the other. Do you know how many hands are actually involved in a transaction? Let's count, right? So we have the wholesaler, then we have the seller or the investor, right? Who else do we have involved in a deal? The inspectors,
Appraisal,
appraisers,
title company.
title companies,
Loan officer.
loan officer,
Contractor.
agents,
Right.
contractors. Anybody else?
Buyer.
A buyer? I can keep going. You
Actually,
see,
the most important
Termite
piece.
yeah, inspectors. I mean, yeah, we could go on and on and on.
Decorators, yeah.
There could be literally 4 hands worth of people involved in one single transaction. How easy do you think it is that that transaction could fall apart just like that? Very easy, right? Cheryl is an agent, been an agent for a very, very long time. She sees that all the time. Deals fall apart. And I've had them fall apart at the table. The investor that closed on that 4 unit yesterday went in with cash. And what was really cool about that is she called me up afterwards and she said, it only took 15 minutes.
Okay.
I said, yeah, it's cash. Cash is what? Cash is king.
Cash is king.
There's only a couple documents. That was it.
It's getting there, that's the problem, it's just, once you get
Yeah.
settlement,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
yeah.
You know, and most investors give up. They do. They're not able to stay in and ride the roller coaster. Would you agree? And it does get tough, especially in today's market, to hold it all together. So next we have Sid Hamid. Sid is the owner of Next Stage Realty in Largo, Maryland. We have done a joint venture with them, Dorothy and Jim. If you guys please don't leave until after the meeting because I want to go over some things with you. Okay. We're going to be doing an unbelievable amount of education as it relates to being an investor and to being an agent. It's going to be held right around the Beltway. It's something that Andre and I have been working on for a really, really long time. We had originally worked with another broker. It didn't quite go the way that we wanted it to. We're really, really pumped up about this because there are so many different things. Sid is... I'm just going to let you, you have so many things that you are into. Will you just tell them a little bit about who you are and everything you're in?
Well, my name is Sid Hamid. I have bought and sold multiple companies. My last company was over $32 million. I've sat on the board of directors for 8 different businesses. I currently own Brickfront Properties and Construction, which is my investment company. And then I bought this company, Next Age, about 2 years ago to kind of bring everything together, to have everything under one roof. So basically what it is, it's a one-stop shop. So we could do investment deals, so we bought the investment world as well as the retail world all together under one area, from construction to property management to education to writing the contracts to having agents on our staff. To basically controlling the transaction from A to Z so things don't get blown up. And a lot of times things do get blown up, as Tammy said. So I've been in the game since 1989. My brothers and I started together from buying 1 property, then we bought 2, then 3, then it just kind of snowballed. And I'm a local guy. I grew up in Arlington, Virginia, went to Wakefield High School. So that's who I am. I've been in the area for many years and I've seen a lot of changes. So this is the best time for you guys to get into real estate, especially with the election coming up and stuff.
Absolutely. So, Fred, if you would just now expand a little bit on who you are, why you have remained intact as a loan officer, what it is about being a loan officer that you like, what changes you've seen over the last 5 years, 6 years, with the way that the conditions are, and what investors and agents today need to be focused on when they come to you, or what type of products are out there for them.
Okay. I've been in the business 17 years. I've been with a bank, I've been with a broker. The difference between a bank and a broker, a bank, you can't do it, it can't be done. Broker, I can shop, I got 50 different lenders. So if the score is messed up, 580, I got a lender. It's 600, I got a lender. 620, I got a lender. If you're lucky enough to have 640, I can send you anywhere. People under the wrong impression that because you got a 580 and you got a 700, that the 700 score gonna get a better rate. No. FHA states that I must give the same rate. I can't give you a better rate because you got 700 and you get a rate because you got 580. Now you got 575. Okay, you might get a little bit higher rate at 575 and you may put a little bit more down. FHA didn't used to be score driven. What I mean by score driven, you didn't have to have a score. FHA, boom, it's done. FHA is a storybook loan. You had bad credit. 2010, for the last 12 months, you've been fine. Get you that loan. You owe everybody. We're gonna pay it all. We're gonna write it all on your wife, because when she left, she didn't pay all the bills. That's the way I'm doing it.
She gets blamed for everything, doesn't she?
Yes, and on the other hand, I'm gonna blame it all on your husband. Somebody else gonna take the blame other than
Thank
you. You take the blame as irresponsible, but I'm gonna put that blame on somebody else that I ain't gotta prove. I can get anybody to say that's your wife. Anybody say that's your husband. But if I put it on you, the underwriter look like, I don't know if I want to do this loan. That person is totally irresponsible. No, don't blame somebody else. It's a story. You tell the story. You tell the story in your file. Now, everything you submit is a story. You tell nothing that you cannot prove.
Right.
Nothing. VA is a government loan. VA veterans do not have to have down payment. No such thing. It's something that VA does. Conventional is a different animal. 5% down, 10% down. But my thing, why you want to put all that money down? I treat your money like it's my money. Why you want to put all that money down? I can take you to FHA. You see what I'm saying? So I try to get you away from conventional. If you're stuck on going there and you definitely want to go, I say, look, that same 5% that you're going to put down, take 2% of it, stick it in the bank, wait a year, then call me and say thank you, then give me, take me to dinner, send me somewhere. Because I'm going to save you money. Because that's all the bank is going to do is take your money and make money. That's how banks make money.
So Fred, that's for somebody who wants to buy a house.
Mhm.
Okay, now let's take it one step further. You're an investor and you want to acquire this house you're going to rehab. Okay, can an investor in that situation come to you and expect to get a loan?
Not for the rehab. After the rehab is done, unless you own the property, we can do a refi. But it's like they said earlier, it's relationship. Because when you come to me, I'm gonna put you with the agent. Because the agent is the one who's gonna find you this property. Because I trust my agent. I know what my agent can do, what my agent can't do. The thing I found about investors is that when you got a home and you want to sell it, you don't know where your client's coming from. But there's a little trick that me and my agents do that I'll tell you about once you come to us. Well, then again, I'll tell you now. It's an open house. You get that house and you do an open house. So therefore, everybody that comes, the house could be sold, don't make no difference. You want the people that's coming. So them 10 people who come and see that one particular house, then you got 10 other clients. So when you get your next property, you got 10 clients right there that you already know you got. And you do an open house on that property. So now you may get 15. You got another 15 clients right there. And you send them all to me. I pre-call them, get their credit straight. So when they get ready to buy it, you get a home, put y'all together. It's just that easy.
Lacey?
Yeah, just to piggyback on what first. So a traditional loan shop typically cannot service an investor, but there are investor loans, they're hard money lenders, and when people say hard money loans or hard money lenders, people start to roll their eyes because of points and interest rate. But again, if you're doing your properties right, you're holding that money anywhere from 90 to 180 days if you're doing things properly. So it's not the interest rate, and if it's, again, if it's a good deal and you're going to make money, and you know you're going to make money even with the points and the interest there, you do that deal. You don't turn the deal down because, the hard money. You do the deal because it's a good deal and you're going to make money.
And that's a really good point, Lacey, and then I want to stop for questions. I've met more investors who will walk away from the deal because they don't want to pay hard money. How many of you in the room don't know what hard money is? And if you don't, please raise your hand, because this is the time to learn about this. Does anybody not know what hard money is? Thank you. Okay. Hard money is hard money. No,
I knew it was gonna be hard.
hard money is expensive money. Okay? It's short-term expensive money. So, you, as an investor, find this property, it's vacant. It doesn't fall into the traditional norm of being able to get funding. Okay? It's not going to be owner-occupied. It needs $50,000 in repairs. But you said it's a really good deal. It's a really good deal. It's worth $250,000. I'm going to be able to get it for $50,000. I'm going to have to put $50,000 into it. So I take out my holding costs. I'm looking at a $75,000 to $80,000 profit. Those numbers are a slam dunk, right? But you can't get the money. So a hard money lender is a lender that lends short-term money. It's expensive, anywhere from 12 to 18%, 3 to 5 points. I've sometimes seen it as high as 8 points. They usually do it for 6 months. You have the right to extend it out, usually no more than a year. So are you paying more money for the use of that money? Yes. Yes. It's the cost of doing business, and if that's what it takes to get your first deal done, so what? Would you walk away from a deal just because you had to pay for money?
No.
What if that money wasn't based on your personal credit score? Would that make it sweeter?
Mm-hmm.
What if that was only based on your character, your integrity, your experience, who you're going to be doing the project with, and more importantly, what the value is of the house? What if that was the only parameter? Would that matter? Would you still go for the hard money? Absolutely. Right? It's called opportunity cost, right? But I've seen so many people walk away because I'm not paying hard money. Are you kidding me? No way. Okay, fine. Then walk away from the opportunity, right? What is the difference in finding a property and then you find someone who has the money and you say, I'm going to put in all the sweat equity and this person's going to put in all the money, but the person putting in all the money comes back and says, I want 50% of the profit. Are you going to walk away from that?
No.
But some people do. A lot of people do. Why? It's called greed, guys, with a capital G. They want it all. And they're not willing to sacrifice and take baby steps to build up that portfolio. Right, guys?
And take the emotions out of it.
Yeah, there is no emotion here. I get excited, I do. I'm a very emotional person. And I've learned, and my emotions have gotten me in trouble. They really have. You're not going to live there. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The grain in the hardwood floor doesn't matter. The quality of the granite doesn't matter. The colors matching perfectly doesn't matter. The quality of the work being done is another story. So you got to take all that emotion out of it. All right. So now you know a little bit about these guys, a little bit about where we're going this evening. This is truly an opportunity that no question should, I hope, be left unsaid going out of this room tonight. We've got an investor agent, a broker, a contractor, business owner on the sell and buy side. We've got a deal maker plus, rehabber, wholesaler, extraordinaire, project manager, loan officer, 17 years plus, buy side, and you've worked with, how many different loan products are you working with right now?
There's a lot of them, especially FHA. and just to piggyback off what she said about buying a home, sellers, I mean, it's a difference between a seller and an investing seller. A seller selling his property, he or she trying to get as much money as they can.
Yep.
But for you guys, you need to give the 6%. You're trying to sell your property. So if this man right here wants to buy my property, and the difference between him buying my property is 6%, I'm giving him 6% quick. Because the quicker I get that property sold, the quicker I get another one. But you guys, like she said, greed. I'm gonna give him 2%. Okay, we hold on because they got money, but he ain't gonna say he got no money because he's trying to hold on as much money as he or she possibly can. So the difference in selling my property quick and having to sit on the market for a long time, sometimes it's closing costs. Give them the 6%. All you do is factor it in when you buy that property.
Right.
You buy that property for $40,000. You put $20,000 in there. Put the 6% right there. You sell it for $200. You already know what you're getting. Don't do it afterwards.
Oh, Fred, this is so perfect because I started out as a realtor, right? I'm an investor agent now, and there were so many times working with investors that, you know, I'm going to sell it myself. I'm going to FSBO it. I'm going to save that 6%. By the time they pay the holding cost, by the time they sit there and pay 2 more months worth of mortgages, you could have paid 2 agents. It's 8%, 10%, right? So here's a great story. She's not here. I can pick on her. One of my students on my coaching call last night, I used to be a hairdresser. I was a certified master hair colorist for 18 years before I got into real estate. She said, I'm sorry I'm late getting on the call. I said, okay, that's okay. I understand. She goes, no, I've got a huge meeting tomorrow and I decided to highlight my own hair. And it turned out really bad. So either I have to put a baseball cap on, and I said, you've got, I didn't say to her that you've got all these financial resources, but I said, why didn't you just go to the hairdresser? So she was so panicked, and you could hear it in her voice. But that's what we do to ourselves. It was the quickest story I could think of to relate. We would rather cut corners to go to Walmart to buy that $6 box of L'Oreal hair color than we would to take the time to go to a professional who's experienced and knowledgeable to do it right. So don't cut corners. You know, don't try to do that, especially in today's world. It's just not worth it. So, who has questions for these guys? Because I know they're brewing out there. Ken.
I have got to be, I'll introduce myself, Ken Williams, and I have got to be, most likely, the greenest to the real estate industry as they
Wonderful.
come.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. And one of the things that I was hoping to get a little bit of insight on, I don't know if you gentlemen in particular could help me, is where do I begin with my entity? Does anybody have a suggestion as to how to start? The LLC, individual, corporation? Are those something that anybody could maybe?
Shall I disclaimer?
Yeah, please give
I'm
us
not, Sid's not, Lacey's not, and Fred are not CPAs or attorneys.
I understand that.
So we can't give legal advice or tax advice.
Uh-huh.
My question, and I'm going to answer it, and then I'm going to ask each of them to answer it too, okay? If you're new, and if you're just getting started, why are you worried about setting up an entity right now?
I felt that it went hand in hand with the education and presentation in being able to approach lenders, sellers, possible buyers, and not only begin to understand and build confidence in myself, but confidence for them to have confidence in me as well. That part of that was to introduce myself as more than just an individual.
Okay,
And that was my concern. That
Good.
is my concern.
absolutely. Sid,
Well, I mean, do you have employees? Just you?
No, just
Well,
myself.
just do the LLC. That would be the fastest and the cheapest way to protect yourself and protect your assets. But if you had employees, then I would maybe suggest doing an S corporation. But since you don't have any employees, the LLC would be the best thing to protect you.
Thank you, Sid, and I realized that coming right out asking the question that neither of you gentlemen were here for that reason tonight. But you know, it was offered, I did take the opportunity, I asked, and I got, so thank you.
right.
And yes, because those are the two things that I've been considering. And thank you too, Tammy, for, hey, wait a minute, why do you need that right now?
Right.
You
Now
haven't
I'm gonna put my investor hat on, and I'm gonna share 2 sides of it. All of you in this room will have to hear this, okay? Some things that I say you'll love to hear, and some things are just simply It's blunt, but it's because I've learned it 15 years and I wasn't taught it. We're taught when we go to these seminars and things like that, you know, go get an LLC, go get your first deal, go get an LLC, da-da-da-da-da. An LLC costs $150. You know, you get it expedited, you go down, you set it up, and it's 123 Main Street LLC, okay? It's not a big deal. It's a limited liability corporation, and the only reason it exists is to limit your liability. But unless you are actively doing real estate, and I know you're new and you're actively getting there, until you have that deal, you don't really need the LLC.
Okay.
Now that's one part. When you get the deal and you get the deal tied up, now you have to decide, are you going to flip it and hold it? Are you going to hold it long term as a buy and hold and rent it out? Are you going to turn around and wholesale it to someone? Or are you going to turn around and rehab it and then flip it to sell? Because if that's the case, that LLC has 3 completely different reasons for its existence, right? If you're going to tie up, let's take Charlie. Charlie's got a deal, okay? Right now, I'm going to help him with it. This is live, this is real. I will advise him to tie this property up never in his own name. Lesson number 1, never ever tie real estate up in your own name. It's very dangerous, okay? Because if you get sued, all any attorney has to do is open up the books, public records, and say, what does John Doe own? And they see what you own, and they say, oh, he's got 10 homes. I'm going to sue him. But if the lawyers open up the public records and they don't see your name anywhere, then guess what they're going to say to that person sitting there in front of them that wants to sue you? They don't have any assets. Sorry.
Sorry, no.
Go on your way. Okay, so you have this property. Charlie's got his property, and he was going to tie it up. And I'm not going to let him tie it up in his own name. So he's going to tie it up on a piece of paper that says Charlie, what's your last name?
Murphy.
Charlie Murphy.
Andrews.
Now you write this down. Ready? Ken, what's your last name?
Williams.
Ken Williams, comma, and or assigns. That means you have the right to now assign 123 Main Street LLC, which is a shell LLC that has nothing in it yet. It's just been created, but there's no assets in it. Okay, nothing. It's just a shell. Charlie now has this piece of paper. Can I see the piece of paper? Because I'm visual. Charlie's now got this piece of paper called a ratified contract for 123 Main Street LLC. But he wants to wholesale it. So he's going to come to you, Ken, and you say, oh my God, that's a really great deal. I'd like to buy that property. He now is going to assign this contract to you. And instead of Charlie selling you the property, all you're simply doing is buying the LLC that Charlie has created.
Understand.
Okay, so that's one way. But let's say you buy the property and you want to put it into an LLC because you're going to rent it out. What if a tenant falls on the steps and wants to sue you?
Then he's renting it from the LLC.
Correct. He's not renting it from Ken.
Ken.
That's correct. So where do you learn this? A, in these rooms, because we have experience, even though we're not lawyers and CPAs. We have CPAs on our team, okay? I have a CPA, a brand new CPA firm that I just hired. There's 9 CPAs in this firm, okay? Because as you grow and get bigger, you got to get bigger and bigger with your team. We're surrounded by attorneys. I guarantee you every single one of these are surrounded by teams of people, okay? So great question. Just know that every question in real estate can be expanded upon unilaterally. There will never be one size fits all. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So when you're creating this LLC for self-esteem, I wouldn't create it for self-esteem to be able to put Ken Williams LLC on a business card.
Thank you, and I do understand the need to be anonymous in the paper transaction, or as much as possible. And you just clarified for me that there really isn't a need for it. For me, it wasn't so much to say, hey, look at me, my name's on the business card, as it was a feeling of a sense of urgency that it was necessary, that I needed to present myself as more than just an individual.
Right, because you know at
And
the
it
end of the
really
day,
isn't. You
you know
just
what-
explained that to me.
right, you know what really matters at the end of the day?
The
When you get
deal.
up, when you get up first thing in the morning and you can look in the mirror,
Mhm.
that you're happy with who you are.
Thank you.
And that you're going out to make a difference in the world today. And if you can stand in confidence, there ain't no LLC that can ever go behind Ken Williams.
Thank you, Tammy.
You're very welcome. Anybody
Very
else
much.
have any other
Yeah,
questions?
I just want to
Go for it.
piggyback on that. So, it's very important when you're dealing with professionals, and Tammy said it earlier, you want to deal with professionals, but you also want to deal with professionals who know what they're doing. So, if you go to a CPA, look for a CPA that actually has experience dealing with real estate investors. Because there's some CPAs that will just quote you what the book says, and they've never turned to that page. So, make sure you're dealing with real estate, when you're dealing in real estate, you deal with real estate attorneys, title attorneys and title companies, and CPAs who have clients or deal with clients that understand real estate and investing. Because you'll get bad advice if you just go to your cousin and your cousin just does taxes for the middle income homeowner.
Thank you,
Wow,
Lacey.
Lacey,
So,
that was powerful.
Just make
That's
sure you use
huge.
professionals
Yeah.
in that specific part of the field.
That's what stopped me from going to legal,
Zoom.
You can
hey,
use
$100 can go do it. And I said, oh, great, where's my credit card? And I'll look it up, I'll Google it. But something stopped me. And I said, wait a minute, I don't know enough about any of this to make any decision at this point. And, I did start getting online. I do have a friend who was referring me. That's how I came across these emails. And I'm here for exactly that reason, to get started, to introduce myself, be introduced, and
Let me just
gain that
piggyback off
education.
that.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Also, if you use the right CPA, at the end of the year, because I'm always looking at the NOI, I'm always looking at the P&Ls and the profit and
Okay.
the balance sheets.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Okay, tell everybody what an NOI is.
Oh, okay, net operating income, at the end of you want to see how much income that was made, the NOI, for your business. So if you do a Q1, Q2, Q3 report, you want to look at your returns to see what kind of income have you made. So if you get the right CPA, the right tax person, that person will actually help you increase your return overall by 10 to 12% by using the right codes with the IRS. So as a real estate investor, there's things that are available to us that are not available to other folks out there. There's special categories that we fall under as long as your CPA understands those categories. So instead of making a 25% profit margin, you could actually end up making more of a 35 to 40% profit margin if your taxes are handled properly.
Right.
Thank you,
Do-
Sid. And I'm sorry,
No, it's
interrupted.
okay.
I had interrupted Fred also.
Do anybody in here, does anyone in here know why our IRS tax code was written?
Protect the wealthy.
Say that again?
Protect
To
the wealthy.
protect the wealthy.
Right.
Okay, our USA tax code was written to protect the wealthy. They're vehicles, okay? The LLC, the self-directed IRA, all of these things are called vehicles, okay? For the wealthy to be able to protect their wealth and their assets, okay? Offshore investing, I mean, it goes on and on and on. So our goal, what we've been taught as an American is we go to elementary school, right? And then what do we do? Then we go to high school, then what do we do? Then we go to college, then what do we do?
Get a job.
Then we get a job. Now, how old are we at this point?
22.
22, 23, but let's say we're going for a PhD.
25.
25, 26? Okay, then what's next? You get the job, then what? Then usually, then you're supposed to find a life mate, right? Whatever that may be. There may be children involved, right? Now you get up into the late 30s and early 40s, and all of a sudden, we have divorce.
Yeah, we got divorce.
I know you wouldn't have interrupted, Fred.
So then,
Remarried.
then all of a sudden, you start to realize that you've lived a life a little bit, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm doing this for my mom or my dad. This isn't what I want to do. Anybody been there? Right? There's got to be a better way, right? So you start looking into alternatives, and hence we come into real estate. Well, I can share with you that if you follow that white picket fence, if you pay into all of the taxes, and you are so excited that every year between January and February you're going to get this huge refund, something's wrong. Okay? I live to pay no taxes, and I don't. Pay very little because they're all sheltered. My assets are spread, my asset is covered, and everything else in between is completely sheltered and put away. And that's what you should be focusing on. How do the wealthy get wealthier? They protect their what? Assets, okay? And they shelter their money. That's what you need to learn how to do to become financially independent. Guys, please jump in and piggyback on that.
Sure, I think that's a very important point. So, what Tammy said is very important, but don't be paralyzed by that. So get started. Just like she was saying, you don't need an LLC to get going. Same thing. Yes, you want to protect your assets and have those things and work towards that. Get started. You put those things in place as you move up, because as you go up the investor trail, like Tammy's, she's where I want to be, so I've got to get there. So as I grow, though, there'll be things that happen. There'll be different asset classes that I'll fall into, and I'll have to be aware and make sure that I'm protecting myself. When I get to SIDS level, again, the same thing, and I'm getting there, Sid, trust me. So, but as you go along, you'll bring in the right level of professionals to help you. So you don't need it all when you start right then. So just get, because I face this all the time, talking to people where they're just frozen.
Or they're
can't do-
frozen in the busyness of becoming
Right.
an investor.
Investor.
They're ordering their business cards, they're creating their LLC, they're thinking of the name, they're creating the website, they gotta have the buy website and the sell website, and this and this and that. Before you know it, the whole day goes by, and then a week goes by, and then a month goes by, but they're an investor.
Right.
You know, so
My thing
get out
is-
there and do the deals.
My thing is, find out if you want to do it or not. It looks pretty right now, but you might not want to do it. You just spent all this money doing all this, and then you find out, oh, I don't want to do that. That's a whole lot of money you done spent. I
First
tell
thing you
loan
know me
officers
already.
that want to come into the deal, when loan officers want to come, I say, come part-time. Don't quit your job. Come part-time. Because we get paid commission. See if you can do it. Everybody can't live off commission. See if you want to do it. And I tell them, come at referral fee. I'm telling them right now, I'm going to pimp you. Because you're not going to make the money that you would make. But let's see if you want to do it. Once you close 3 or 4 and you see the money, okay, I want to do it. Now, okay. Now you go and get your license and do all that stuff. But before that, make sure you want to do it. How many of us in here know somebody that wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, Indian chief, and they ain't doing it? Because they it's too hard, they ain't got time, something pop up. You just spent money. If you got money just to give away, I can give you my name and address, you can just send me some money.
Or you can send it to me. Either one of us.
All right,
Okay,
so
thank you, Fred.
I would
Add
like,
something to that.
yeah,
Let me just add what they're saying here. The other thing is what I found out is you got to be around the right people.
Yeah.
You really got to be around the right people.
Team.
If you're trying to get into real estate, or you're trying to get into be an auto mechanic or a football player or golf, you got to be around the right people to learn and to grow through their mistakes, through their stories, through their experiences, through their knowledge, and then decide for yourself if this is something that you really want to do. And then you really got to get to know, the why. Like, why do I want to do this? And you got to understand the why. Everybody has a why. Like, why are you guys here tonight? Right? Everybody has a purpose. Everybody's got a reason. So you got to know if your why is really passionate and is really powerful, and then put the time and energy behind it if you really want to do it. And my thing is, you should never be scared of anything. And fear is man-made, and we create it ourselves. And then most of the time, we get in our own ways. We create our own obstacles and our own problems. So sometimes you got to stop listening to yourself. And you just got to do it. And there's no right way or wrong way, but you just got to do it and get out there. And you're going to get some bruises, but so what? You get up and do it again. But you get better at it. You get better at it and get better at it. I've made plenty of mistakes. But, I mean, but also had coaches. So, you know, being part of this thing is great because, you know, District RIA has been doing this for many years. There's a lot of experience, there's a lot of knowledge here. But you gotta get around either get a coach to really personally help you grow your plan, or come to these meetings on a regular basis and to network and talk to folks that are here and learn that way.
Thank you.
Cheryl?
I think especially for beginners, you're gonna be very excited about what you're doing and what you're learning, and you're gonna have people around you that it don't matter what you do, they will say, you can't do that, you can't do
I've
that,
been
you
told
can't
that
do that.
before, but I did.
Okay, you know, and don't listen to them. Those people have never tried to do what you're attempting to do, and don't let them sabotage you.
Usually, we call those the dream stealers, and usually they share the same last name as you. Most of the time.
How many of y'all
Most of the time.
keep track of boxing?
Of boxing,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be me, I can
Okay,
tell you
well,
that.
well, you notice a lot of the boxers now they got teams. Mayweather team. Not just the box anymore. They got a team. Most of the boxers now, it's not like the old days. They got a team. Basically, we're telling you, a team. If you surround yourself with intelligent people, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. You done fell down how many times? You're gonna fall again. Get up, brush yourself off. Let's get back. We all had bikes before, right? You fell off them bikes 100 times.
Yeah.
And they stopped you from riding that new bike, did it?
How many times did you fall when you were learning how to walk?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so Lacey, you are an investor as well. You've been doing this for 15 years.
Yes.
When you got started, what was it that you were getting into it for?
I got into it because of the excitement of building wealth. Taking the opportunity. I mean, I'm from a neighborhood called Landover, Maryland, actually Palmer Park, to be real about it. And yes, I saw an opportunity that I could create wealth through real estate and real estate investing. You know, watching Carlton Sheets and some of the other, some of y'all too young to know who Carlton Sheets are, and some of the other gurus who were on TV back then. But they showed how you can actually create wealth through investing in real estate.
So through your journey, how did you become this deal maker? And what is it that you bring to the table that is really exclusive that you could help somebody in this room be able to achieve?
Okay. Well, first, I've fallen down a lot, as Fred has mentioned, and taken the bumps and bruises. My very first deal I did from watching the Carlton Sheets program, my fiance and I, her grandfather passed and left them a property on Capitol Hill. I'm watching Carlton Sheets, Capitol Hill. Let's go, let's do this. Went to found a hard money lender, took out the loans necessary to rehab the property, and basically learned all the things that you're not supposed to do when you hire a contractor. Again, the Carlton Sheets didn't tell you about all those parts right there. But through that, learned, the things that you're not supposed to do, and then I began to share that with other people. Completed the project, through some bumps and bruises, but we sold the property and everyone was happy. I ended up with a little bit of debt on me, but we did get out of the project. And then I just started taking that knowledge forward. The very next thing I did was got married, and we were looking to buy our first home. Bought that first home, no money down, walked away from the closing table with cash. The pictures of my wife and I spreading our money out on the table of the cash that we had when we walked away from closing.
Very different scenario than the first one.
Right, very, very different scenario. But became intrigued with doing loans, and I started doing loans part-time and ended up doing loans full-time, working for one of the national companies that's no longer
Oh, so
with us.
you've been a loan officer as well.
Yes, I've
So
been a loan
you have that behind you.
Right.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. So I
Very
work.
cool.
Yeah, I work
Okay,
for a loan company called AmeriQuest. I can talk about them now because they're no longer in business. And since my background was working with investors, and I came to that company, I'm like, oh, well, that's great. But I kept bringing investor loans, and at that time they were interested in a different kind of loan that had more points and more money that they could make. But through that process, found out that I really wanted to help people share, make sure that if I could help them not make the mistakes that I've made, started doing that, and that's where that little wholesaling piece came, because I actually started finding, okay, I got an investor. Let's go find you some properties. Because if I find you a property, you're going to come do a loan with me. So I started finding properties for my investors, And, you know, I had several investors I work with, and we did 4 or 5 loans together because, again, relationship.
Right.
So went back to
So
that.
some of the investors that are in the room tonight, okay, just getting started,
Right.
and they need someone to work with them to help them.
Yes.
Obviously, educating themselves is huge so that they learn not only the mistakes but the things to do and not to do. That's where we come in to provide you with the education. Lacey, you have a pipeline of deals?
Yes.
So you have a good inventory list right now?
I have a good inventory, and yes, I'm ready to move deals and bring on investors and help them find properties. The biggest thing I do is analyze. I help try to analyze the properties, and I work with people. They're, you know, contractors I work with who can go in and they can look at a property and they'll tell my investor this is a deal, good deal or not a good deal. I don't know everything. As a matter of fact, I
Right.
try to make sure I put people in the hands of professionals who know, so they don't have to take my word for it. Take the word of the guy who's been doing it for 17 years. Take the word of someone who has sold a $32 million company. So listen to those people, and then you can come to me and I'll help you work your way through the system. But I do want to say something that's very important. The one thing I didn't have when I started was a local RIA or coming to a group that helped mentor you. Again, I was a late night commercial, and then once I got the materials, reading the materials and then going forward. I didn't have anyone who could say, sit down with and talk to them. And that's extremely important. And if you can get in a RIA, get with a group like Tammy and learn from them, take the courses and get the education, you'll save yourself some of the headaches.
Thank you.
And
Do you?
Yeah, right, and money. Right, and
But
money.
do you hear the passion in his voice as he shares about real estate? That's what you're gonna find in the whole world of real estate. It amazes me still to this day, the passion that exudes. We love what we do. We eat it, breathe it, sleep it, drink it. I am addicted. My name is Tammy Phelps, you know, I admit. It is an addiction, and I don't go to work every day. I do this 8 days a week, 25 hours a day, but I don't go to work. I absolutely love what I do. There's good days and bad days. There's hard days, and there's days to celebrate. We're celebrating tomorrow night, you know, having dinner with not only for Vicky's birthday, the birthday girl out front, Vicky, our executive director. But I want to take these girls out and celebrate, because you got to celebrate the excesses along the way. Even if it's just to go out and have literally girls' night. You know, my husband's like, well, why didn't you invite me? I said, because you're not a girl. You know, you're not invited. He goes, well, I can be a girl. And I said, no, this is our time. You know, we went through this together. You know, we went on this journey together, and the tears and the happiness, and then actually making it, you know, and now being able to declare, I am a real estate investor. They've made it. And I'm going to take them out, you know, and treat them to a really nice dinner to congratulate them. So you've got to celebrate the successes along the way. Sid, what are a couple mistakes, a couple failures that, looking back, if you had to do over again, you wouldn't do?
Well, trying to take on, I would say trying to take on too much. You know, especially when you're new, try to do one property and do it well. And really stay on top of it, especially with the contractors. Stay on top of your materials, because I mean, the first job I've done, I got beat. I mean, they charged $96,000, whereas I look at it now, I could have did the same job for $45,000.